Recording in progress. Rico looks like he's done a bit of weight. Good on you, Rico. It's hard work shifting weight, let me tell you. Very hard work. Let's wait for Rico to rejoin us. Here we go. Forgot what I was going to say now. Piers Morgan. Now, Rick. Welcome to part two. Tyson Fury has to give Piers Morgan £1 million for fighting again this year. He's going to pay it in pound coins. Will he pay it? It's for charity, obviously, because he's a charitable sort of guy. Or will he not?
I'm sure he'll pay it to the same charity where, remember when he gave all of his purse from, was it Wilder one to the homeless?
7 mil.
Homeless. 7 mil, yeah, he gave 7 mil to the homeless charity. So, I mean, that charity must be excited and, ecstatic with the fact that Tyson's donating yet again another £1 million. So, yeah, I think it's exciting times for charities. And I'm all for charitable donations. So, great to see that charity receive that money ahead of Christmas. And I think this time he'll reveal which charity has given it to, because last time he was being so humble that he wouldn't even reveal the charity so that other fans could donate and match that donation. So I'm looking forward to hearing what charity, because I'll be making my Christmas charity donation to that charity to follow the footsteps of Tyson Fury, who's been so charitable as always.
Well, Piers Morgan will not let him off, will he? But nobody's mentioned that in the last few days, have they, Rico?
Hey, I mean, it's the same. Do you remember when people asked him about the name of the charity and he said, well, I don't want to talk about it. So
Channel 4 asked that because they wanted to go out there and do a bit of a piece on it, but they shut it down, didn't they?
Well, he's such a humble guy that he doesn't want to. It's not about him, right? It's about the charity.
Okay. Joshua's took time out. You're not going to fight?
It's good. I think sometimes a fight is good and you probably have to realise whether you want to do it or not, because for Joshua, it's a long climb up to the top and it's a long road, right? It's a long road. So does he have the fire part? Does he have the fire anymore burning? He's made a hell of a lot of money in his career. Does he really want to go through and build up? And also the next thing right, is he won't be, when he comes back, and if he comes back and he's fighting his way, he's going to have to go through guys like Joe Joyce, Yoka. One loss to a guy like Joe Joyce, you might as well just pack your bag. You're never going to win a title again, right?
Yeah. I don't see Joshua wanting to fight Joe Joyce, but he's saying Joe knows what happened in sparring. Well, go fight him now then.
Yeah, I mean, one's on DAZN, one's on BT. It's not going to happen, is it?
Where does all this leave Eddie Hills now with Joshua? Is their relationship a bit going a little bit sour? Because Eddie was saying, he's definitely going to be out 4 times next year. Well, he ain't going to be, is he? Because it looks like he's parked up now for a while. So
you remember a while ago, Joshua said or somebody said that, well, Eddie doesn't speak for me, I speak for myself. Do you remember that a while ago?
Yeah.
Joshua said that. So I think a lot of this is Eddie trying to convince DAZN and sponsors and others that Joshua is still going to be out a lot, rather than it being the reality, right? I don't think Eddie's even speaking to Joshua at the moment.
I don't know, but I think that we could be seeing chinks in the armour between Eddie Hills and Big Meech. I don't know. What do you think, Rico?
Well, part of this will be what's Joshua's next move, right? Does he actually want to take this management stuff to the next level? And, does he want to use the final chapter of his career to push this management stuff? And I wouldn't be surprised, I have no knowledge of this, if he somehow ended up at Sky, Joshua, and then he'd move his guys onto Sky Boxer. Maybe he becomes part of that Sky Boxer thing. Because he doesn't have, actually, I'll take that back. He has a DAZN deal, doesn't he? But there might be something what he'll do, where he'll start running 258 shows where he'll be headlining himself, and he'll be the promoter, and his guys will be fighting under that. That wouldn't surprise me at all. To kind of create something for after his career's done.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see what happens moving sideways with that one, isn't it?
100%, mate, 100%.
Do you feel that Freddie Cunningham and all them goonies that hang around Joshua, do you think Joshua could be thinking, I need a change of scenery now?
You mean AKA Skins?
AKA Skins and all the rest of them dolies that hang around him.
Well, I saw he was doing some black tie event with them the other week, so I don't know. It's
Doing some what?
some black tie event where they were all dressed in suits and they were all walking around London and taking photos, and AKA Skins and others were there hanging around.
Jeez, what would they be doing if Joshua want a boxer? To be sat on a wall on a council estate with a load of 20 quid crack deals in the mouth, wouldn't they, waiting for someone to come and buy? That's how I look at it.
Who knows, mate? Who knows? I mean, there's a lot of people milking one cow.
What next for Dillian White? I've just heard that him and Franklin's.
Yeah, it's I saw that at Wembley Arena, 26th of November. So that's a week before Fury against Chisora. So again, it's like the sabotage event by Eddie. I mean, there's not enough interest in boxing, so you're just watering it down by putting this event. And on the same card, you have Wardley against Coleman, which is a relatively interesting fight. But I expect Wardley to win. Actually, I think that might be tighter than people think. But yes, Dillian White, Dillian White's fighting against someone that has a good record but isn't a particularly dangerous fighter.
Well, that's 5 weeks away, right? And it's just been announced. So everybody's got 5 weeks to get to Dillian White fight and 6 weeks to get to Fury fight. And I think that the problem is, look, they're trying to outdo each other all the time, Warrens and Earns, and it's affecting the sport, isn't it?
I'll be back in a second.
Well, Rico, do yourself a favour, mate, get yourself a new mic. Rico's doing an Ozzie Smith on me. Big-hearted Oz. Hey, my opinion said Pep joke didn't go down well with Ozzie Smith. He didn't even know who they were, did it? That programme were, did he?
No.
Have you ever watched it?
No, I haven't.
How old are you, Rico? 30?
I wish, mate. I wish more in between 30 and 40. Let's say that.
Okay, well, it's before you were born anyway, but we'll talk about that another time over a few pints.
So back to this White fight. I think he's fighting against another unnamed American with a good record. There to pad the record, essentially, right? There's nothing more to this.
Okay, can I just give a big shout out to Welcome Estates in Spain? If you want a villa, get you sent to Welcome Estates. They're big, they're massive, they're number one. Watch this space. Rico, Daniel Dubois, Anthony Yard, Dennis McCann, Archie Sharp. What's going on here? Callum Johnson. What is happening with Bricktop's big guys? Bricktop's men.
Yeah,
Paul Butler. Put Paul Butler in the mix. I know he's a world champion. He's in a unified fight with I know you in Japan. So good luck to Paul Butler in December. But what about the rest of them? What's going on, Rico?
Yeah, I think it's going to be next year is really make or break for British boxing in general.
Oh,
right?
God, yeah.
All of those guys need a big statement fight, and the same goes for all of the matchroom law. Otherwise, we're going to go back to the dark times of small hall shows and everything else being on televised. And I think actually the impact of MTK leaving boxing and all the money and other things it brought, we're probably seeing that having a bigger impact than we initially thought, right?
Yeah, massive.
So there isn't enough shows at the moment. There isn't enough good fighters. There isn't enough money to bring in good opponents, to win the purse bids, to put the best shows. So I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of those guys are going to be farmed out in the US and other places to fight in PBC cards or top rank cards as opponents. That wouldn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Conor Benn. Is he going to get banned?
You know what? I think he will, but I think we'll just never know that he'll get banned, right? There'll just be silence about it, and he won't be out for a year. But yeah, I think part of this is as well the board has to cover their own arse. If the board are ever going to claim that they taking this stuff doping seriously, then they have to do something about it, like so that people can see they're actually doing something about it, right?
Yeah. All right. Where's Chris Eubank going now? Like, because he's come out of all this smelling of roses, hasn't he?
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure the Salons will find something for him to do.
Do you feel that
he fought against a YouTuber? That's the vibe he's on currently.
Do you feel, Rico, that Eubank, he shafted them with Golovkin fight, didn't he? Pulled out, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel that the Eubanks have shafted Eddie, telling tales to Daily Mail?
So I don't think they would have told it today, man. The reason I say that is because I think it was such a beatable fight for Eubank, and he's lost a lot of money, right?
Yeah.
Because we all knew what was going to happen in that fight, right? It would have been quite a short one-sided beating. So for him, he was probably willing to go ahead because he thought there's no amount of performance-enhancing substances that will teach Conor Benn how to box.
Yeah. Do you think he'll call out Golovkin now? Because he's got he needs to be in a big fight now, Eubank. He's got nowhere to go now except a big fight.
I don't think boxing is his thing anymore. I don't think he would have. I wouldn't be surprised if he retired or fought against a YouTuber. I think that's his thing. Otherwise, why would he? If he was taking boxing seriously as a career and wanted to fight for a world title, do you think he would have faced Conor Benn? Like, that fight did nothing for his career.
Yeah.
But the thing that people don't realize enough is, you look at the last 12 months since Eddie's gone to DAZN, what has he delivered for them? The Joshua fights haven't been on DAZN. This was meant to be the marquee fight they bring, and everybody will get excited. This fell through. What is DAZN spending their money on? Like, if you had a DAZN subscription for the last 12 months, whoever you are watching or listening to this, what have you actually got out of it?
It's now 30 days before you can cancel, isn't it?
I know, but look, what have people got out of it? There's been terrible cards, terrible fights. There hasn't been anything that the fans have got, right? It costs the same, and I've said this before. Amazon Prime, I watched the Premier League on it the other day. I can order whatever I want, next day delivery to my house. I get a load of TV shows and films and everything else, and it costs less than DAZN, or the same, well, less than DAZN, right? And that's value for money. DAZN, expensive, and then you gain the pay-per-views on top. It's more expensive than Netflix as well. You gain the pay-per-views stuck on top of that, and you haven't got anything for 12 months. It's a complete rip-off. It might be the worst, it might be the worst thing you would have done as a fan is stuck for DAZN for 12 months.
What do you see happening with Josh Kelly? Now, obviously, he's got Troy Williamson. That's an hard fight for him, isn't it? That it's a good trade fight, though, isn't it? That
it's a really good fight. Yeah, I think really good fight. I think we'll find out. I think we'll find out what Josh Kelly's made of. I mean, Avanesyan was a really tough test, and we thought Josh Kelly was a world. A lot of people thought he was a world beater. I wasn't one of them. He looked flashy. I think Troy Williamson's going to be in that fight. We'll find out what level he's at. Avanesian's not world. He's not that top world level, right?
Yeah.
He's sort of, I'd say, like a not gatekeeper, but better than a gatekeeper. So if he can't beat Troy Williamson, then I don't think he'll ever come close to even challenging for a world title. And if he can't beat him comprehensively.
Do you remember a couple of years ago when all the big talk were going to be Josh Kelly, Conor Benn? It never happened, did it?
No, I mean, we haven't seen Conor Benn, to this day, we haven't seen Conor Benn against a live opponent in his career.
No.
Forget about Algeria and all these other Van Herden and everybody else. Like, we haven't seen Conor Benn. And now we know the guy has been taking performance enhancing substances. I think the whole Conor Benn thing was such a bad experiment. Remember when they were talking about him fighting against Sean Porter?
Do you think that this could finish Eddie off and make him walk from the sport? Because it looks like the fans are not forgiving him because he stays silent, and he's still, more or less. He's had a couple of interviews, but they were with his friends. They were soft questions, weren't they?
Yeah, I think the tide has turned on Eddie, and I think the other thing is, I think what's going to make him walk is he probably has a very good deal with the zone at the moment, right? And they probably overpaid for what's being delivered. The moment the zone wipe their hands of Eddie Hearn, that's the moment he walks from the sport, because at that point he'll be out in the cold, and Frank will be at BT. The zone will be probably out of boxing, or they'll just use Oscar. Sky are happy with what they have with Boxer, which will be a lot cheaper than what they had with Eddie. And probably they're doing the same numbers, right? They are doing the same numbers. I mean, they had a really good card last weekend. So I never thought of saying on a female-only card, but it was actually a really good card, right?
Well, I thought the main two fights were all right, but leading up to it, I didn't think. I think some of them looked like they were should have been in Star Wars.
I mean, that's women's boxing, right? Unfortunately, the gap between what's somebody that's a professional fighter that does this as a full-time job to somebody that's coming to these shows can be huge at times. But what I'm saying is, nobody's watching Sky and saying, God, I wish Eddie Hill, the Billy Ricky Iceman, would still do these shows.
The Billy Ricky Iceman.
Yeah, but does anybody say on Sky, like, oh, I really missed the Eddie Hearn shows? Nobody's saying that. Come on.
I've been loving it, really, because everything I've been saying has come true on it. We know what he is. He's a sneaky, low-life, vagabond, charlatan. And he's been found out, just like his father, what in snooker, but the difference with snooker is it were a load of old farts running snooker for 100 years, and his dad come along, and he signed everybody, and he had a bit of power then. They think if they sign everybody, they could take over, a bit like darts. They conquered darts and snooker, but they can't conquer boxing because we've got people like Bricktop and all the rest of them there that are in the way, aren't they? But maybe if Bricktop weren't here, they might have took over at board. You don't know, do you?
Porky Damas was right. I think if Bricktop wasn't there, he would have started his own board. He would have done like a UFC, and I think that's what he always tried to do, right? That's what he's taken a lot of inspiration from Dana White, hasn't he? Where he's tried to start his own. That's what he tried to do with the zone in the US. He wanted to start his own franchise, didn't he?
Yeah.
Because all UFC is just a franchise, right? It's a franchise of its sports. PBC tried the same, but it's too hard to do that with boxing, right?
Yeah.
Because there's an infinite amount of fighters, and one person can't have all the best fighters.
Okay. Shields, Marshall, what will you take on it?
I think Shields won pretty handily enough. I think we've been wrong over the years and thought Marshall would win that fight. I think if they fought quite a few times, I think Shields would win probably. It's not a knock at Marshall in any way. I think Shields is just a really special fighter.
Do you feel that Savannah could have implicated the game plan a little bit better? Or did Shields not allow her to? Did Shields not allow her to?
That's what I was just getting at, possibly. But the other thing is these guys know each other quite well, and I think the level they have Like, I don't think Marshall would benefit a lot from fighting against somebody that's the gap between her and Shields and everybody else is so vast in those high weight classes. I just don't think Marshall's getting the right type of sparring and competition and everything else. And it's enough. You can say spar against men, but it's not. What you really want is equally competitive female, but female sparring. And I think it's very hard for Shields to improve unless there's many fighters that she can fight against. So maybe she can go. Maybe there's some good amateurs. I don't know enough about female or about amateur boxing, but there might be some really good amateurs coming through that might give her, more things. But it's probably very hard for her to find sparring and improve organically, because in the lower weight classes in female boxing, there's loads of women around the same weight classes where they can spar against each other and you can get really good sparring.
Yeah.
Whereas with Marshall, I think it's probably problematic for her to find good level female sparring that's going to improve her.
Yeah. Do you feel that there's a lack of, I don't know, a lack of something with us Brits when we come up against them super elite Americans? There's something missing.
I just think Marshall might be one of the best female fighters ever. I'm not saying, back in Jane Couch's day, you had Lucia RIKU and all these amazing fighters, but I'm saying Shields could be like I'm not comparing her to Mayweather, just that somebody doesn't pull this out of context from somebody on the internet. But what I'm saying is Shields might be like a Mayweather in the sense that it's just really hard to beat her. And if you look at people like Ricky Hatton, you look at people like Pacquiao, you look at people like Cotto, Marquez, they're not bad fighters. They're all very good fighters, right? Particularly Marquez and Cotto and Pacquiao. It's just that Mayweather's miles better. And I think this one is an exceptional case with Shields just being so good that I think 99% of the female fighters ever to fight in that weight class, Savannah Marshall would beat, but Shields might be that 1% that she just can't beat.
Yeah, she's up there, isn't she? One of the best ever females, isn't she? If not the best, isn't she? So there's no shame in losing on points to us, really.
No, and you know what? Marshall's probably top 2 or top 3 ever in that weight class, right? So it's a bit like tennis, right? Back in the day when you had Nadal, Djokovic, Federer, it doesn't make Nadal a bad player. They might not be as good as Djokovic, but he's still one of the best players ever.
They all played each other though, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. But that's tennis. That's what boxing.
Not like boxing, isn't it? It's like football. We get Man City and Liverpool going to play each other. We don't get Fury Joshua. We don't get Joshua Wilder, do we?
No, but we get Joshua Chisora though. War Chisora. Sorry, Fury against Chisora. We get War Chisora against him.
We get White against Fury, or Fury White, but we don't get what we want, do we? No. All right, what's your top 5, Rico, pound for pound at the moment in the world?
How do I have to order this? That's going to be hard. I think it's hard to order. I'll definitely put Inoue there. I would put. I still put Canelo. You probably still have to put Canelo in there. Usyk has to go in there, just because Usyk is basically the best in the best in one weight class, but arguably top 2 in another. So Canelo, Inoue, Usyk. I'd put Bud Crawford in there as well. Actually, it's really hard with Crawford and Spence, isn't it? It's just really hard to decide who's going to be the man. I don't know. Let me have a think. I'm going to Google pound for pound, and I'm going to do.
I know. Well, this is mine, Rico. I know you beat Crawford, Spence, Usyk.
Yeah.
All undefeated. All of them don't shoot the big mouths off like everybody else.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the Ring magazine, you've got Usyk, Inoue, Crawford, Spence, Alvarez, Lomachenko, Bivol, Josh Taylor, Charlo, Beterbiev. Yeah, I think the top 5 probably is pretty evident, right? You've got Usyk, Crawford, Spence, Canelo. I think that makes sense. Say if Crawford and Spence were to fight against each other and one of them were to lose, I would still keep the other one in top 10. But you might want to elevate them like a Lomachenko.
Is Tyson Fury in Ring Magazine top 10 pound for pound?
I mean, he's not, right? I mean, Tyson Fury hasn't fought. You could argue that Tyson Fury hasn't fought. Actually, he's retired. That's why he's not in Ring Magazine, because they've taken him out the rankings.
Well,
I wonder whether they put him back in.
Well, they might slip him back in just before he fights Chisora. That'd be good, wouldn't it? Slipping him back in, but yeah, he's not had a fight since he retired. They'll slip him back in before.
They might put more Chisora in the top 10.
Hey, listen, if Derek Chisora knocks him out with a lucky punch, how lucky would that be for Derek?
Well, you know, like Derek Chisora knocks him out with a lucky punch, then I might as well put a lottery ticket in on the same day, if I'm being honest, because that's what we're looking at here. We're looking at 1 in a million chance. I think it's more like if Fury slips in the ring and hits his head and gets concussed than Chisora knocking him out.
You think, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll finish with a question, Rico.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you, who is the greatest heavyweight of all time?
I mean, I'm an Ali fan, so that's what we have to say Ali for that reason.
Why would you say Muhammad Ali, Rico? Is it because he fought everybody?
Well, that, and also he had about 3 different careers, right? He had 3 different stages to his career. He had the early Ali, pre the 2-year ban, or pre the sort of ban. He probably lost his prime during the ban. Then he came back, and then you had the late stage Ali. You know, you could argue washed up by still fought against good opponents and put on good performances. I mean, some of it's a bit sad the way I got plummeted in the end, but yeah, it's. I think you'd have to say him because of just how long he was fighting against top opponents and everything else.
Yeah.
What do you say?
Yeah. What do you think's next for Big Mick Hennessy?
So Big Mick was promoting the show last weekend, right? So I don't know. I wonder whether it was obviously because of Marshall, but given MTK out of the game and not signing fighters, there's a lot more opportunity for somebody like Mick to snap up a few fighters, and same goes for Dennis and others. You're not competing against this machine that's snapping up every single fighter.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
dokie.
The economics of work. It makes the economics when you're not competing against MTK. The economics of signing fighters is a lot more better, right? I don't have to explain to you why, but yeah, we all know that.
Are you concerned about Mick's weight? Because I am, because he just seems to be piling it on, doesn't he? Weight. You look awful over there.
Yeah, you know the guy, right? So
yeah, he's a lovely guy, lovely fella.
Yeah, I look at him and I say, yeah, you probably need to lose a few pounds.
Mick, look after yourself, Mick. We don't want you to pop your clogs. Get yourself sorted out, mate. Go get a gastric and save your life.
Yeah.
That may sound harsh, but I like Mick.
Good stuff. We've done an hour.
Okay, well, listen. Thanks for coming on, Rico.
My pleasure, my friend.
You take care and have a great weekend.
You too, my friend. Take care.
Peace out. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Well, that were Rico. Oh, hard work with that echoing, wasn't it? Rico, get Jess to go out next time she goes to Sainsbury's, or is it Waitrose? I don't know which one you go to down there. I don't think they have Aldi's where you live, do they? And go get your 10 dozen eggs, get out cartons, stick them all around bedroom or in room or something, and then we're not going to have any echoing, are we, mate? And thanks for coming on, but I think Rico's microphone needs some looking at. Okie dokie. All right, everybody, have a great weekend. Peace out.